I killed my team because I truly cared about them. And even though I've only just gotten to know you guys, I care about you that much too.
Now that's not funny.
The more that I continue looking at this game, the more that my soul dies in the process. And this recent news doesn't help one bit. But regardless, welcome back everybody to another very strange video pertaining to the extremely lackluster title that is Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League, as well as all the other interactive experiences that are currently in development within Warner Brothers games. And yeah, what else is there to say about Suicide Squad that hasn't already been said? Most of which is stuff that I've actually already pointed out within previous videos. The game was a critical and financial failure from everyone over at Rocksteady, DC, and WB Games respectively, and has pretty much tarnished the legacy of the highly beloved Batman Arkham series. But the fact that Kill the Justice League is a massive disappointment isn't anything new. But what is new is that we did receive some recent updates from Warner Brothers themselves, which do thoroughly analyze just how big a flop Suicide Squad was for them, and what their current plans are going forward. However, I'm here to tell you that none of this is good news, which I will be fully explaining why. Not just for the status of Suicide Squad, but for all other potential WB games that could be releasing down the line. So if you're ready to dive into this train wreck with me, then definitely be sure to thwip that like button and subscribe to the channel for even more gaming industry videos down the line. So to get you all up to speed on the situation is that we do have a great article from GameDeveloper.com, which fully breaks down everything that you need to know about the recent news surrounding Warner Brothers games, and what exactly the company is planning on doing with its gaming division at large. And to put it bluntly, it's pretty darn baffling to say the least. Whereas the article states is that Warner Brothers wants to license game properties as division revenue drops. The financial blow from Suicide Squad has WB exploring other options, primarily leaning into their IP. Now, at first glance, this might actually sound like good news, considering that it only seems like WB is following a similar pattern which Disney has been doing for decades, in which Disney, or for example, Marvel, does decide to reach out to a third-party developer and ask them whether or not they would be interested in creating a game using their IP. This is how we've received the incredible Insomniac Spider-Man series, as well as all the other Marvel games that we have received in recent years like Marvel's Guardians of the Galaxy, Marvel's Avengers, and even other games like Marvel Ultimate Alliance 3 and Marvel's Midnight Suns. Not to mention all the other upcoming Marvel games like Marvel's Iron Man, Blade, Black Panther, 1943, Wolverine, and any other upcoming Marvel game which we may not even know about yet. So instead of Warner Brothers deciding to keep using all their in-house studios like Rocksteady, WB Montreal, and even Monolith Games, who are currently working on the upcoming Wonder Woman game, they're now finally deciding after all this time and their massive financial flop with Suicide Squad to finally start branching out to other possible developers. Although I'm here to tell you that it is far too little too late for any type of progress to be made on this decision, considering the massive corner that WB has boxed themselves in. And it doesn't look like that they'll be escaping anytime soon. Where to elaborate is that the status of Warner Brothers Discovery's video game division is once again in flux, and the company is hoping to license out its big properties. During its earnings call for the second quarter of the 2024 and 2025 fiscal year, CEO David Zaslav said outside studios could take advantage of franchises like Harry Potter and DC. We have 11 studios here and a lot of IP. We need to get bigger. In the past, WB licensed out its games to third-party developers, but many of these, like Rocksteady and TT Games, along with Player First more recently, were later acquired to continue making WB titles. To WB's streaming and games global head of Jamie Perrette, licensing will help balance out its game business. Multiverses is doing fine in free-to-play, but he acknowledged the quote-unquote lumpiness of full-price games that take 3 or 4 years or more and millions of dollars to make. Or to put it another way, is that WB is still feeling the hurt from Suicide Squad Killed the Justice League. Rocksteady's troubled live service shooter has been repeatedly cited as a failure for WB Games, both on its own merits and in relation to Hogwarts Legacy. Whereas the 2023 game was a billion-dollar hit, Suicide Squad led to a 41% decline in games revenue. And as Perret said himself, we went from a record year with Hogwarts to unfortunately having the opposite side of that spectrum with Squad. And that earlier this week, it was reported that WB was looking to sell off its games division entirely. Along with Squad's continued disappointment, the WB-owned NetherRealm recently axed its mobile team and its phone game Mortal Kombat Onslaught. So to give you all the TLDR version of this news, is that WB Games is in a serious amount of debt due to the massive financial flop that was Suicide Squad Killed the Justice League, and that WB is pretty much willing to do anything in order to make that money back. But the biggest reason why this is such a massive problem for not only WB themselves, but also for all of us gamers on the receiving end, is exactly what type of products that they are thinking of making in the future. As was previously stated by the WB CEO himself of David Zaslav, is that he is one of the main contributors of deciding that all future WB Games titles should in fact double down on the live service genre, which is exactly what the massive flops of both Marvel's Avengers and Suicide Squad were in their entirety.
But why? Why would you do that? Why would you do any of that?
And despite the record-breaking amount of income that a game like Hogwarts Legacy raked in for WB last year, which was a fully single-player narrative-driven experience, they are still dumbfoundedly deciding to go the live service route because that is the game that they believe will make them the most amount of income. And considering how much money they lost, they are in desperate need of some brand new dough. But I know for a fact that they're not going to get a single cent from anyone if they keep deciding to make idiotic decisions like these. I'm gonna tell you all right now that it does straight up not matter in the slightest if WB Games is deciding to finally license out all their properties if it only means that they're going to keep making utterly atrocious live service garbage. So for example, if WB Games reaches out to a company like Naughty Dog and asks them to make a fully AAA standalone Superman game, they're more than likely going to try and enforce them to make it within the live service genre to try and simply make a quick buck, which I think is straight up moronic. Rather than allowing all these developers to try and play to their strengths in order to make a great game based on a character that they own, they're just gonna try to keep shoving the live service formula down people's throats to try and make as much money as they possibly can, when in reality, it's simply going to have the opposite effect on them and only make them end up losing even more money. For me personally, WB Games hasn't been the same since the release of Batman Arkham Knight all the way back in 2015. Which at this point was nearly a full decade ago. And every game that they've released since then has either been incredibly average or extremely disappointing. And seeing that it looks like that they haven't learned their lesson in any meaningful way, it only makes the outcome of this situation that much worse. And honestly doesn't give me a whole lot of confidence as to what they seemingly have planned for the future. But regardless, we're just gonna have to wait and see as to how exactly this situation is planning on playing out for WB as a whole. And until that time comes, everybody, that's the video I have for all you today, and please let me know all your thoughts in the comment section down below. What do you think of this abysmal news coming from Warner Brothers Games? And if you were to choose a character from the DC library of superheroes to get their own standalone game, which character would you choose? Let me know what you think, be sure to leave a like on the video, and subscribe to the channel if you did enjoy, and for more videos like this in the future. Thank you all so much for watching, stay awesome everybody, and until next time, peace out.